If you're a fan of opposites attract romances with humor, heart, and a one-eyed dog named Jimmy, this story is for you. When tightly wound surgeon Dr. Grant Whitaker crosses paths with free-spirited gardener Kenna Lane, his perfectly controlled world starts to unravel in the best possible way. She's barefoot and humming in the hospital courtyard. He's determined to avoid the chaos she brings. But Kenna, with her stubborn optimism and dirt-smudged hands, proves impossible to ignore. What begins as irritation soon blooms into something far deeper as Grant is forced to confront the idea that control isn't the same as happiness, and Kenna might be exactly the kind of wild he's been missing. With laugh-out-loud moments, heartfelt confessions, and a sailboat named Serenity caught in the storm, this romance is a slow-burn journey into healing, vulnerability, and love that refuses to be tidy. Dive in and discover what happens when messy hearts find each other. Listen to an excerpt from the book. Roots and Sails, a romance novelette. Written by Lona Edwins. Narrated by Elaine Frank. Chapter 1. Opposite Worlds. Dr. Grant Whitaker believed in control. He believed in the power of sharp lines, accurate charts, and schedules that never wavered. In the OR, control meant the difference between a life saved and one lost. Outside of the hospital, it was the armor that protected him from the unpredictability of the world. His colleagues called him stoic. Some whispered rigid when they thought he wasn't listening. Grant didn't care. Let them laugh over break-room coffee. They weren't the ones steadying hands over an open chest. Each evening, as if by prescription, he peeled away from the sterile walls of Whitaker General and made his way to the marina. His sailboat, Serenity, waited there like a loyal friend, a 30-foot vessel with perfectly varnished teak, lines coiled just so, and sails that caught the wind without protest. No heart monitors, no family members hovering with questions, no chaos. Just water and silence. But tonight, something was off. He noticed it the moment he stepped onto the dock. Not the weather. The breeze was mild, the tide calm. It was the sound. Laughter. Loud, unrestrained, and drifting on the wind from across the service road. Grant paused mid-step and turned toward the source. There, framed by the golden haze of late afternoon light, stood a barefoot woman in the middle of a raised garden bed. Her jeans were cut off above the knees and streaked with soil. A threadbare tank top clung to her sun-kissed skin. Her wild copper curls were piled high on her head like they couldn't be bothered to stay in place. She had one hand plunged into a planter full of marigolds and the other swatting at something darting around her legs. That something turned out to be a dog, or at least what Grant hesitated to call a dog. It looked like a pile of dryer lint with legs, wiry fur, one eye, tongue lolling. The little beast had a chewed-up glove clamped in its jaws and seemed absolutely delighted with itself. "Jimmy!" the woman called, more amused than annoyed. She chased after him, laughing as he dodged her efforts. The glove flopped like a flag of victory. Grant frowned. Of course. The hospital board had recently shared their plans to beautify the campus, and he had seen the proposal for a community garden. This mess of denim and dirt must be their interpretation of that idea. He watched as she stopped to catch her breath hands on hips, chest rising and falling. Then she started humming, loudly, some cheerful, vaguely familiar tune that did not belong within 100 yards of a hospital. Grant ran a hand over his face and turned back to serenity. He had planned to set sail before dark and let the wind carry away the stress of the day. Instead, he found himself staring down at his coiled dock line, jaws tight, ears still full of her humming. He tossed the rope aboard and stepped on deck, the gentle sway of the boat grounding him again. But even as he moved to lower the mainsail, the image of her refused to leave his mind. The way she stood with her feet deep in the soil, like she belonged there. The way the dog kept circling her, tail wagging, like he couldn't imagine being anywhere else. The way her laughter didn't just rise, it rolled like waves against the hull. He scowled. He didn't have time for distractions, especially not barefoot ones who came with loud dogs and louder music, especially not ones who made him forget, for half a second, that he hated surprises. Grant made a mental note to close his office window tomorrow. And if she was still out there, singing to her plants and chasing that ridiculous dog,